What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Counterpunch breakdown. This time, UFC Vegas 102. If you're new to these, my name is Lucas. His name is Rohan. And UFC Vegas 102. We're coming off UFC 312, a pretty shitty pay-per-view, but it's all good. I think it's like 16 straight weeks of UFC, something fucking crazy.
Yes, sir.
So it's all gas, no breaks. Before we break it down, Rohan, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Busy week for me in LA with internship and classes and all that, but looking forward to another good, solid fight card. I mean, the main event is looking pretty interesting. I didn't think I would see Gregory Rodrigues in the main event on a fight night, but hey, man, he always delivers. So I'm excited for the card, and yeah, good week so far. How about you, bro?
I'm good. I'm good, busy, but pushing through. And ready to break down another UFC card. This is actually a pretty good fight night. I think it's like 13 fights. Let me double check.
They took one off, I think, recently. Are they gave Jared Gordon like a new fight?
Yeah,
So
you got a new opponent. Yeah, 13 fights. A lot of good fights. Some shit fights, but a lot of good ones as well.
there's a lot of chalk, a lot of huge favorites, bro. That's the one thing I was shocked by.
A
But
few huge favorites. Yeah. Okay. Let's get into it.
yeah.
All right. Let's get this topology on the screen. 3, 2, 1. And we're here. Rodrigues, Cannonier. Let's go. First fight on the card. Julia Avila taking on Jacqueline Cavalcanti. There's some fights that I just don't want to say words about. Cavalcanti should like beat the living shit out of Avila. She hasn't fought in a year and 2 months. Got demolished by Misha fucking Tate. I mean, at that, Misha Tate, outside of her fight against Julia Avila, has looked awful recently. I mean, Avila, I think she's coming off like pregnancy. Like, dude, this is just like a soccer mom that's coming into the UFC, and she's fighting Cavalcante, who's active and has looked good. Yeah, I don't. This should be illegal. I like Cavalcante. Put her in all your parlays.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, she is the biggest favorite on the card, and for a good reason. She's better everywhere, younger, faster, stronger. She does everything better. The only thing that worries me about her is her lack of volume at times, but she usually only has those problems when she's facing another capable striker, which Avila is not at this point. Like you said, soccer mom, 36 years old, pregnancy, time out of the octagon. Like you just don't know where she's at, so you can't bet on her in this fight. So definitely take Cavalcanti here to win. I just hope she doesn't pull anything crazy and like not throw for a round and give it to the judges somehow and leave it for a split decision. But I don't see that. I'm going to take Cavalcanti as well.
Yeah, just a fight that I'm not going to say anything else about. It's horrible fight, man. Horrible fight.
The next one follows suit.
Speaking of fucking horrible fights, but I guess that's what to talk about because it's like relatively close. Walter Walker versus Dontel Mays. First, we got Combat in the chat. What up, Combat? Hope you're doing well. What's the line? Like, what's the line? If Walter Walker's
minus 180,
minus 200, then I just
minus
2. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's crazy, bro.
Walter Walker is horrible, but at the same time, like he is fat and can hold people down. And Dontel Mays is also retarded. So will Walter Walker, will his cardio last? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I guess Mays can hang out in there for 3 rounds. But Mays is horrible. He's horrible. Both horrible. Walker's coming off like the flukiest heel hook ever. I mean, it wasn't a fluke. It was just like that's his path to victory. Every fight is like just a heel hook on the ground in round 1 because after that he's gonna gas the fuck out. Yeah, dude, I don't like. Has Mays been submitted? I'm not gonna lie.
So.
Why would I go out of my way and do tape on this fight? Like you just know these guys.
2 losses. So.
And he got heel hooked back in the day. Like it could definitely happen again. It was
Cyril Gahn. That's funny.
The first round sub Walter Walker, but a lot. If Mays escapes round 1, live bet. That's all I really gotta say.
Yeah, pretty solid breakdown right there. I mean, this is a shit fight between 2 shit fighters, but yeah, it all comes down to the cardio and whether Walter Walker is able to do what he does early and just put the pressure on. He's going to be the one probably on the front foot and initiating the clinch and trying to get the fight to the ground. Dontel Mace doesn't have terrible takedown defense, but at the same time, it's not like you have to really worry about him on the feet other than those looping bombs that he throws. So this is just going to be a really ugly fight. for as long as it lasts. But yeah, I hate the line, the fact that Walker's such a big favorite. But I mean, he has more paths to victory, so I feel like it is the safer choice to pick Walter Walker. But man, the loss to Lucas Bresky will forever haunt me and him. I mean, not that I don't think I bet on him or anything, but that was just I think we did the short about him, and that was just funny to follow it up like that. But it's an ugly fight. I'm gonna pick Walker just based on the path to victory, but that's about it.
Yeah, this is bullshit fight, my brother. This is bullshit fight.
Bullshit.
Literally a bullshit fight. Yeah, that's all I really got to say. Next fight we've got the line is ridiculous though. Just bet on Walker round one sub. Next fight, I'm actually very, very excited for this one. Vince Morales versus Elijah Smith. I watched a lot of The Ultimate Fighter, and this is actually the first time a dad and a son have ever fought in the UFC ever. Elijah Smith's dad, Gilbert Smith, was on The Ultimate Fighter.
Oh wow.
Twice, I believe, and he never won the Ultimate Fighter, but I think he had one official UFC fight. And I remember seeing like they were doing like a storyline on Gilbert Smith, and I think it was like Tough 19 he was on, the one with Chael Sonnen and John Jones, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong, but I remember seeing Elijah Smith. He was like 12, 13 years old at the time. Fast forward 10 or so years later, and here he is in the fucking UFC. This is a guy I'm rooting for. I like him a lot. It's just like I want him to win like badly. Like I have a little bit of a bias here, but I just don't. Like he was minus 230. Like this is a guy that faded big time in his Contender Series fight. I know it was on short notice, but he faded big time. Now he's taking on Vince Morales, who's fought everybody when it comes to, the lower level of UFC fighters, but it's UFC competition at the end of the day. He's coming off a loss to Taylor Lapilus, just got outstruck by a really good striker. This is a step down. Smith is going to be really, really good. He's only 22. It's just, I still feel like he's a little bit green. He says he's minus 230 there. He's getting bet down. Yeah, I mean, I'm still taking a plus money shot on Morales at this line. It's just, I don't get it. I want Elijah Smith to win, but sometimes you got to use your brain and not your heart. I'll be rooting for Smith, even though I'll probably have money on Morales just because I want to see him win. I'm a fan of his, and I'm a fan of his dad's, and I want to see that story succeed, but I don't get the line.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because 22 years old, I mean, and you watch the guy's tape, you could definitely tell he's a little green, but man, is he talented. I love his takedown entries. That's the biggest thing of his that I'm very, very impressed with. But again, when you are making a debut against somebody that has as many fights under his belt as Vince Morales, as many, high level fights under his belt, it is a pretty big step up, and I don't know how much you can trust it, but I do think that Elijah Smith in the striking is probably the more intimidating force in this fight. I think that he's got like a lot of power in those hands. He does have a lot to clean up, especially on the defensive side. I think his head movement can be a little better, and just the way he fights on the defensive side, I think there's just work to be done. But I mean, Vince Morales is never one that's been like, too hard to hit. But man, I mean, it's not like he's up there in age too much. He's only 34 years old, and again, not like you said, that loss to Taylor Lapilus. Taylor Lapilus, he has a way. His fighting style is very, very hard to deal with at times. So you don't want to hold that too much against him. Um, and yeah, I do kind of think that it is a little early because I was just shocked to see that how young this guy is, 22 years old. You rarely see fighters debut that young, and when they do it, there's usually a lot of hype being built upon behind them. And it's not like I've really heard too much about Elijah Smith in the lead up to this fight, but if you do the tape and you watch the tape, you can see that he's a really, really good fighter and he has potential. So I do think that I agree that he's going to have a solid career when he gets, his wits about him. But I think it might be a little too early, just because Morales is so seasoned on the ground. Like he will jump on the neck, if he sees the opportunity. He's got 5 wins by sub, 7 by knockout. He's a fight finisher. He likes to look for ways to finish the fight, whether it's on the ground or on the feet. And I just worry that on the ground, even if Smith is able to take Morales down, I don't know if he's going to be able to do enough damage to keep him there and to finish the fight. And then I get worried about the later rounds. So the cardio, with that being a question, and then the age, I think, yeah, it's a little tough to side with him in this fight. A little too early anyway. So I'm going to take Vince Morales as well, just based on, track record and who he's faced. And again, that one loss in his last 5 fights to Taylor Lapilus is not a bad one at all. So, yeah.
I mean, I don't even think the cardio is a problem. Like, he took that fight on, like, 2 weeks notice on the Contender
Mhm.
Series. Like, I don't I think he's gonna learn from it. It's just, like, the lack of experience, and
Yeah.
another thing is, like, the gym he's training at, I think it's just, like, his dad's gym, and they just
Mm.
have a bunch of, like, bummy regional fighters in the gym. Like, I just I don't know. I wanna see this guy go to a big gym, like a Killcliff or something, man, where he can get more experience, where he can learn from higher level MMA fighters. I just don't know. I'm rooting for him, but I don't know here. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's move on. Next fight on the card, we've got Gabe Bonfim taking on Chaos Williams. Um, I don't know. This one's actually really, really tough for me. Uh, Chaos Williams, I think he could maybe knock out Bonfim. I mean, that's his path to victory. He's not going to stop coming forward. He doesn't really get tired. He's throwing bombs, but I don't know. Bonfim hasn't really last 2 fights hasn't impressed. I mean, he
Mhm.
lost to Nicholas Dalby, right? He got finished, looked incredible round 1, just gassed, and then he showed off his cardio, I guess, in the Angelusa fight. Went all 3 rounds, looked all right, but really didn't impress. Like, he didn't really do anything significant that fight. Um, I don't know. It's tough. I think Bonfim's only improving, and he's really dangerous on the ground. So I'll predict him to get that round 1 sub, like he's done a lot. Like, he's really dangerous on the ground, especially in that first round. But man, if this fight gets into the round 2, I could see Chaos finding the chin. I don't know. Another tough fight to call. I'll go Bonfim round 1 sub. What's the line right now? Yeah, he's getting bet
He's
down
only
already.
plus 170
Here
now.
on Topology, it says he's minus 225. Now he's down to minus 205, pretty similar. But I'm curious what the round 1 sub is, because I feel like that's what he's gonna go for. Bonfim
Mhm.
round 1 plus 350, Bonfim round 1 sub plus 500, same shit. Um, yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and take Bonfim in round 1, but this is a pass for me, to be honest.
Yeah, it's tough because honestly, like you said, hasn't looked that great in his last couple fights, Bonfim, and he isn't of the brothers. I think he is the one that has less hype behind him. But Chaos Williams, um, he's got that those heavy hands, but I think that people kind of put him in that box a little too often. Like he's a good fighter. He doesn't really he doesn't, overextend himself to the point that he's leaving himself able to be hit. He's never been knocked out. He's never been submitted. And that's the other thing. Even when, people realize that, oh, like Carlston Harris, for example, he was trying to take the fight to the ground. A lot of people have tried to take the fight to the ground against Chaos Williams because they don't want to get hit by that power and they're intimidated by that power on the feet, and rightly so. But he's done a really good job of defending himself on the ground, defending against submissions. And I think he just overall is a well-rounded fighter enough to survive that early sub. So I'm actually on the other side here. I think that down the stretch of this fight, especially the way Bonfim looked against like Angelusa, getting a unanimous decision against Angelusa and not really making it look all that one-sided, and then losing to Nicholas Dalby, who is a cardio demon. Like that is Nicholas Dalby. That's what he does. It's just not. It just doesn't give me a really good, mind frame going into this next fight against somebody that I think can really trouble him on the feet. Chaos Williams, it's not like he throws a lot of combinations, but he does have fast and powerful hands that'll keep at least earn some respect from Bonfim, I think. And yeah, he is going to he's going to look to take this fight to the ground early, and within the first 2 minutes of the fight for sure. But I think if Chaos Williams can defend takedowns like he's done in the past and defend those early submission attempts, which he's done in the past, again against not maybe not the same level of BJJ as Bonfim has, but still against some decent grapplers and wrestlers. I think that he can push this fight to the later rounds and make it interesting. So I'm going to say Williams by maybe a split decision here. Honestly, I think he can get it done just based on damage, and yeah, I think it's a solid pick. There's going to be a lot of like weird picks on this card because the lines are just so crazy, and that was one that you said started to come down. I think a lot of other ones might as well throughout the week, but that one, yeah, I could definitely see a way that Williams gets it done by decision.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't think he's gonna win a decision. I think if he wins, he probably gets a knockout. But I think this fight finishes probably, unless Bonfim just wants to completely change his style again and fight to a decision. I don't know.
Oh,
The
chaos
over,
wins by
I mean, the
decision.
over under is set at 1.5, and it's pretty much even. So
Yeah, I can
I
see
don't
it though. I can see it.
know. I'm
That
just gonna.
they're expecting either a knockout, and Bonfim has Bonfim been knocked out? I don't think.
I mean, Dalby
Uh, no, no. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Well, that was the one that,
was
yeah,
more of like a cardio knockout, not like
exactly,
a
exactly,
rushing.
exactly. But the fact that Chaos never been finished, and what I've seen from him on the ground defending submissions, I think I can trust it enough. But Bonfim, I mean, he is talented as hell, so I wouldn't be surprised. But that's gonna be my first underdog pick of the card, and I actually might have another one in the next two. So
Yeah, it's a fair pick. I'm from a betting standpoint. I'm probably just gonna stay away. Next fight: Rafael Estevam taking on Jesus Aguilar. Yeah, I think Estevam is gonna roll. I think this is a bad matchup for Aguilar. I think on the ground it's one-way traffic unless Estevam is like a fucking idiot, like what's his name, Stuart Nickel, and just sticks his head in Aguilar's guillotine, which is the only thing he knows how to do. That and an overhand right. And even on the feet, like 4-inch height advantage, 7-inch reach advantage, like he'll hang in. We saw him like, I guess, gas out against Charles Johnson. He hasn't fought in a year and 2 months. We saw him, I guess, gas out in round 3. But like, here's the thing: it's impressive that he fucking held down Charles Johnson like that in the first 2 rounds. Like that's an impressive thing to do. Charles Johnson is legit. He's got great takedown defense. He's got good get up game. That was impressive from Estevam. So, we've seen Aguilar. Look at that Mendonca fight. He obviously lost that fight. It was one of the worst robberies of all time. It was because it was in Mexico. He literally got held down and like he was getting bitched by Mendonca. There's another guy in Estevam that's physical, that's strong. I think Estevam's going to rule. I think this is domination. Put him in your parlays.
yeah, I mean, I just the only thing that scares me a little bit is the fact that he hasn't fought in such a while. Like it's been over a year and a
It's
half
been a
since he's
year. Like it's been a year. Like I don't know.
Uh, a little over a year, but still. I mean, is a little concerning. And I mean, me personally, I've had some bad experiences recently picking guys that have come off of long layoffs and thinking that they're gonna look just like they were, and then they just disappoint in some way or another, whether it's the cardio or their approach to the fight. You never know. But at the same time, I do think that this is a really good stylistic matchup, just based on the physical tools, the physical features of both men. I feel like Esteban is a clearly just a bigger guy for the division, a more imposing guy on the ground. Aguilar, again, he can be taken down pretty easily. He's got a pretty small frame, and he keeps it. He doesn't really do anything in the cage to exaggerate that frame and like put pressure on his opponents. He's pretty compact in his stance. He stays, on the outside. And I think if he's going to do that and have that approach against Esteban, he's going to be on the back foot. And so, like you said, I mean, he jumps on the guillotine. He does like that submission a lot. But Esteban is a high level BJJ guy. I'm sure he's aware of the 7 mission wins on the other side that have all pretty much come from the back, whether it's guillotines or guillotines and more guillotines. That's really the only way he finishes a fight. So I think that, yeah, once he gets the fight to the ground, I think he's just going to look to keep it there and land some ground and pound. And even on the feet, like you said, the physical advantages that he's got, the reach and the height, I think it's just going to be a little too much because even in Aguilar's wins, he just hasn't looked, or the ones that have gone to decision, he hasn't looked the most. But it's not like he's gone to decision a bunch of times. It's usually his fights are being finished. But the only loss that he has recently, by finish is Tatsuro Taira, which is not a terrible one to have on your resume. But yeah, I just think that and remind me, did these guys fight on I think they fought on like the same season of what was it? Contender? Yeah, I think they fought in the same season. But yeah, I think since then having the one fight to 4 like obviously favors Aguilar just based on activity, but talent alone, I think that is all with the Estevam. So I'm not surprised at the line. I do think he has a very, very clear path to victory. Take the fight to the ground and just do what he does, land some ground and pound. Yeah, I'm gonna pick Estevam as well.
Yeah, I think he rolls, and I'm not really worried about the time off. I mean, we see fighters take a year off a lot. Aguilar, I mean, it's not like he's fought a lot, right? He's fought twice in the last year.
Mm.
Yeah, I just think this is a bad style matchup for him. Easy parlay. I mean, I think you just go ahead and parlay him and Cavalcante, and you just hedge it with Aguilar round 1 sub, and that should be free, honestly. All right, let's move on. Next fight, we've got the newly announced fight. Gordon Ruzabov first. Let's go to the chat. My boy Tate in the chat. What's going on, Tate? Triad saying always great insights. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Yeah, this is a fight That should be interesting. I'm fucking pissed off they canceled that Gordon Cowboy fight because I would have nuked
Yeah.
Gordon at that line minus 180. I think Cowboy's a fraud and sucks. But here's the thing. I think Marsha Bazan Ruzabov is also a fraud. That fucking sucks. To be honest, he's Nursultan's brother. We
Mm.
all know that Nursultan's the biggest fraud ever, and I think this guy, based off what I've seen, I haven't done a lot of tape, but I think he's a fucking fraud. He barely fights. With Estevan, but this guy, he's making his UFC debut. It's different. Yeah, I mean, you got a guy in Gordon who fights a lot, active, has experience. I know he's 36, but I mean, I haven't done enough tape to give you an official prediction here, but based off what I know, I think Rusabov's a fraud and Gordon should get it done. The line is currently, yeah, Gordon a minus 280. I'm just gonna stay away, to be honest. There's no way in hell I'm laying that number on Jared Gordon, a 36-year-old. But I think we'll watch this fight and see what happens. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe if he gets up to like minus 400, we take a sprinkle on this guy who has the most padded record ever. But I'll go Gordon.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like you. I haven't done enough tape on Ruzabov to really know all too much about him, so I can't give an official pick. But I will say that Jared Gordon, uh, he's just one of those up. I mean, literally up and down. I mean, his last couple fights have been alternating wins and losses. So if we go by that, he's gonna win this fight. But no, I mean, he's pretty much sticking in the same range of fighters, but he's not losing to terrible names. You know, Grant Dawson getting subbed by Grant Dawson. A lot of people have been subbed by Grant Dawson. Losing to Patty Pimblett, he won that fight. And then losing a split to Nasrat Hakparast, you know, that's not too bad either. So you can say all those losses, you know, maybe in another world he gets 2 of those and not the
No,
Grant Dawson one.
he beat Hackprest. He beat Pimblett. Like,
Yeah, I mean, the Pimblett one, I have no doubt in my mind that the Hackparast was a little closer, but again, like he definitely had a strong case for that one as well. So if you're looking at those and you're saying, and then the Bobby Green one was a no contest, so you're saying 1, 2, 3, 4 out of his last 5, and the only loss to Grant Dawson, so that's not terrible at all. And yeah, I mean, I think he's just seen so many different styles that no matter what Ruzabov, if he's going to try to stand, which I mean, it looks like just based on his resume, 12 wins by knockout, he's going to look to stand and look to land some heavy shots. So I think that Jared Gordon has a good fight here and a good opponent, a good matchup here. But I'm not going to give an official pick like you. I think just got to do a little more tape on Ruzabov. But I would not be surprised if he's a fraud just like his brother. Because man, going into the it was Ruzabov versus Buckley. I think a lot of people were like, "Oh, I don't know about this one," and Buckley just made him look like foolish. So, yeah, hopefully, Jared Gordon get the win. I'm definitely rooting for him here in this spot.
of course.
We'll see.
Same. I'm also rooting for Jared Gordon, but we'll see. We'll see. I think this guy's a fraud. I think.
We shall see.
I think we'll see. Should be an interesting one. I almost clicked back on StreamYard again.
I was gonna,
almost did it. I almost did it.
Nah.
All right, next fight. Angela Hill, Ketlin Souza.
Split decision.
You know, maybe not, honestly.
It's an Angie Hill fight, so you got to go split decision.
No, I know it's an Angie Hill fight. But I mean, look, at this point, she's fucking 40 years old.
Yeah.
40. Like, at some point, she's going to have to slow down. She's 40 years old. I don't know. Here's the thing. This fight reminds me a lot of the Denise Gomez fight. It reminds me of, you know, maybe it will be a split decision. I don't know, because I think Ketlin Souza is actually really good. Like, that last fight against Horegi, very impressive. I mean, Horegi's just kind of chinny, though. That's the thing. Like, she caught Horegi, subbed her. It looked really good, don't get me wrong. But, I mean, and then she beat the shit out of Marnik Man, a fight she should have finished. That was just a one-sided beatdown. No shame in getting subbed by Corinne Silva. We know how good she is on the mat. Excuse me. Yeah, you know, I was thinking Ketlin Souza. I was thinking, you know, Hill's getting older, 40 years old. But then, yeah, Loki kind of forgot about that Gomez fight. And it's a very similar matchup. I don't know. I'll let you go first. Who do you got?
It's tough, man. It's tough because, like, Angie Hill, actually, I was so impressed with that win over who did she sub? Remind me.
Luana Pinheiro. But
that was a look, and Luana Pinheiro is not good, so don't get me wrong. But I was just impressed because I did not expect that from Angie. That was her first win ever by submission. And she kind of pulled it out of nowhere. But again, it was in round 2 after a pretty competitive round 1. It's just every single Angela fight, Angela Hill fight is the exact same from the moment I've watched her, which is like freaking. I started watching, when I can remember the fight against Waterson Gomez, which I thought she won back in 2020, and ever since it's just been the same freaking thing. Like Amanda Lemos, she went to split against Amanda Lemos, who went on to get a title shot not too long after. Virna Jandiroba, I mean, that was a pretty close fight, but Virna is another, really talented fighter in that division. Mackenzie Dern went to decision. The fact that these women haven't been able to really poke at any weaknesses in Angie's Hill game to finish her. Like she's literally only been finished one time by submission. And I don't know, like Kelyn Souza's a well-rounded fighter. She's got power in her hands. She's got, subs on her resume. She's a well-rounded fighter. I have to give her that. But man, I can't see this fight going any other way than a competitive 3-round decision. So if that's the case, I guess just based on youth and explosivity right now, I gotta side with Souza, because I mean I've seen Angela Hill lose a close decision a lot more than I've seen her win a close decision, and I don't like to say that, but it's the truth. I've seen her, at 40 years old, you got to worry about where she's going to be in the 3rd round. If it gets a little more sloppy, what the judges are going to be looking at, and yeah, I think she has enough tools in the shed to survive and keep this fight standing, and not, let it go to the ground too often, and give up her back or anything like that. Because I think that if it does go to the ground, Souza has, the tools to be able to exploit certain positions. But Angie Hill's been really good. I mean, she fights with Dominic Cruz, one of the, guys that pioneers of takedown defense and movement. Like she has really good footwork, and I just think that
Nah,
it's
there's too much yap over Hill Gomez.
I know, man. I've watched Angie Hill so long, and it's just like, bro, it's gonna be a split decision. You feel it every single time. It's gonna be a split decision. So I'm gonna say Souza by split decision, because I just don't see any other outcome.
Yeah, I'm not gonna bore the people. I guess whatever. I'm gonna stay away. I think early it'll be Souza looking incredible, but man, if Hill's able to survive round 1, put the base on her, we'll see what happens. I don't fucking know, to be honest.
It's an Angie Hill fight, man. It could go either way.
Go take a shit. Go take a shit.
Exactly. Yeah, do that, because you're gonna come back to a split decision anyway.
All right, next fight: Jose Delgado, Connor Matthews. This should actually be a really fun fight. Delgado looked like really good on the Contender Series, but it's hard to judge how good he is because his opponent Ernie Juarez, yes, he was 8-0 at the time, but my fucking god, he is horrible. But Delgado looked clean on the feet, looked good. He's 8-1. One loss coming by decision to Chris Meekate way back in the day. I mean, here's the thing about this fight. Some of the opponents he's faced on the regional scene, like Alberto Romo, shit. A lot of these guys just not that good. So we don't really know how good he is. His striking looks solid. I don't know. We've seen Delgado hurt a few times on the regional scene. I think he wins. I think he'll probably win by late finish or decision. But a good bet is definitely Connor Matthews round 1 knockout. I think he's going to come out guns blazing like we've seen him do on the regional scene and go for that round 1 KO. And it could definitely happen. If it doesn't happen, I think it's a late finish from Delgado. I'm probably going to stay away. Maybe Delgado goes in like a lighter parlay. I think he wins. I think he's a more talented fighter by far. But then again, the durability is kind of a question. So Matthews in round 1 plus 1,100 on Bovada. That's kind of nuts. So yeah, probably Delgado on a parlay, and I'll hedge big time there with Matthews round 1. It's not even a hedge; it's just like just a sprinkle bet that I'll do because I think it's a path to victory. It's probably his path to victory, and it's definitely a path because we've seen Delgado have some durability problems. This is gonna be a really fun fight, though. Both these guys, they go to fun.
Yeah,
so.
They have similar
guys that aren't really known, but they go to war.
Yeah, no, that this is gonna be a fun fight, and I don't know. The line seems just a tad wide, just based on like Delgado hasn't proven himself to a point where I feel like he can be that big of a favorite. But at the same time, I'm one that I don't think Connor Matthews is really. I don't know if he's UFC caliber, man. Like he throws big shots and comes forward looking to take your head off, and I mean that's really all he does. Like I think that Delgado is a little more put together. He's also one that doesn't fight the best going on the back foot, so I could see, like you said, early knockout if he just leaves his chin and gets stuck because he's not moving his feet. But he likes to come forward and come forward in bunches and throw, big, boxing combinations. So I think this is going to be kind of like a car crash situation. But I kind of like the breakdown there. Like early, we're going to see Delgado be tested maybe a little bit, but once the fight settles down and both kind of get a feel for each other, I think that's when we'll see Delgado start to pull away in one sense or the other, because Conor Matthews just doesn't have the most impressive resume. He doesn't have the most impressive fighting style. If you watch the tape, it's just like kind of car crash after car crash with him kind of on one side or the other. So I'm going to side with Delgado as well. I think he's the safer pick. But yeah, definitely some concern of an early knockout if Matthews is just coming out with, red in his eyes and looking to kill him. But yeah, I just don't think he's really a UFC caliber fighter, to be honest. So
Yeah, it's weird because on the regional scene, he goes out and just fucking steamrolls these guys in round one. But in the UFC, it's like he knows he can't do that. Like he's
yeah.
come out he came out much more hesitant in that Francis Marshall fight. Then he goes back to the regional, fucking smokes Andrew Cruz, and then beat Farias, like a guy in Farias who is pretty shit. But it was he won by decision. It was a fight that he actually didn't show awful cardio in that one. Kind of slowed down in round 3, but he took a different approach. Same thing with that bazooka fight. He didn't fucking go for it like he did on the regional scene. So
True.
I don't know. I feel like Delgado's probably better than bazooka as
But
well.
but again, even if he doesn't take that approach, like I feel like that's not really the smartest thing either, because Delgado will come forward in bunches as well. Like he's not ever afraid to throw and let his kitchen sink loose, So I think that yeah, that's probably the smarter way to fight against Delgado, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, let's move on. Next fight, we've got Rodolfo Vieira versus Andre Petrosky. Not a lot of very confident picks on this card, but I think this should be Rodolfo Vieira all day, every day. I think he's better everywhere. I mean, where does Petrosky win this fight? I think on the mat, yes, Petrosky's very good, but Vieira is probably the best jiu-jitsu artist in the UFC right now, or top 3, top 5 at the very least. He's incredible on the ground. He has insane credentials. You look at his career, great win against Petrosky in his last one, fucking dominated. Actually showed solid striking as well, which is, I think he could beat Petrosky in the striking here too. Submitted Cody Brundage. It was a whatever fight. Lost to Chris Curtis. No shame in that at all. Of course, submitted Stoltzfus. No shame at all in losing to Hernandez. Yeah, the guys he's lost to, they're not bad fighters. They're really good fighters, as a matter of fact. And I don't think Petrosky is that caliber of a fighter. Petrosky also slows down big time. Both of them have cardio problems, but Petrosky slows down more, in my opinion. Crazy that the tail of the tape is practically even, both 6 foot, both 73-inch reach. But I just think Vieira is more talented. I think he's better everywhere. And I think, what's the line at? Minus 250. Yeah, I don't think that makes sense. I think Vieira wins.
Yeah, like you said, more ways to win, and Petrosky's just got so many questions. I mean, the chin, I don't think it's going to be, tested too much in this, but Vieira does have some power in his hands, but he's going to look to take this, to finish this on the ground probably if he gets an opportunity. And Petrosky, like again, he's none of his losses are too bad either. I want to say. I mean, like the battle loss is aged pretty well. The loss against who was it? Michel Pereira, not too bad. The Malkoun one was the weirdest one, but it was like a freaking, he got knocked out by his hip or some shit. So that's what gives me a little worries about his chin. But like you said, kind of just better everywhere. He's seen more. He's been around longer against better fighters, I think. So just more confidence in Vieira to get this done. But Petrosky, it wouldn't shock me if somehow he's able to survive and it gets like late in the fight and he's
No, but
somehow.
he's not. He doesn't. He has horrible cardio. Like that's
That's
not a
the
pass.
thing. Yeah, the cardio is a question.
He's
The
horrible
chin
cardio.
late
He's
is a
worse
question.
cardio than Vieira, in my opinion. His cardio
Yeah, no,
sucks.
that's not about. I can't really fight you on that, just based on what I've seen in the last couple of fights. And I mean, the wins that he's just recently picked up against, Josh Framden, Dylan Budka. I mean, there's really no.
Frem showed zero resistance at
Exactly.
all.
It's not that impressive. I think Vieira is a big step up from both of those guys. A big step from Malkoun even, and he lost to Malkoun pretty easily. And so yeah, I think that this is a pretty safe pick this weekend for Rodolfo Vieira to get the job done. Yeah, I'm with you.
Facts. Should be a good fight though. Clash of similar styles, but we've seen Petrosky get subbed by a guy like Brian Battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, should be Vieira here all day, probably by sub. All right, next fight: Ishmael Bonfim taking on Nazim Sadikov. Another tough fight to call. I kind of get the line movement. Bonfim opened minus 145. Now I think he's like minus 200, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Wow.
but does he deserve to be minus 200? I don't
I
know.
don't
I feel like minus 170, minus 180 makes more sense. What were you gonna say?
No, I'm. This is probably one of the most fun fights on the card, just from a stylistic matchup, I would say. That's all. I think both of these guys on the feet are just very, very fun and high level. I think the difference in why the line is probably as wide as it is because Bonfim clears him on the ground, and that's why I think I'm so
Whoa,
comfortable
what? What are you talking about? Well,
picking.
I'm just striker, bro.
No, I know, but I mean, he's got like 4 wins by sub, like in his back pocket. He's if for some reason like he's having trouble on the feet. I know he's a better striker as well, but I'm saying like Sadikov's striking is nothing to scoff at in this matchup. Like this is going to be a fun. There's going to be a lot of fun exchanges on the feet between these guys. That's what I'll say. Like
He definitely
Sadikov,
doesn't. He definitely doesn't clear him on the ground. I think it's probably 50-50 on the ground. I mean, we
ah,
saw him, bro. We saw him get fucking mauled by Saint Denis and like he got taken
that's
down.
Saint Denis though. That prime Saint Denis, he was a beast. Look, I don't know. I just think that on the
Von
feet,
Team is
like
not. He's a striker, bro. He's not a grappler.
he is a striker. He is a striker, but so is Sadikov. I mean, and Sadikov's a good striker. I mean, like he's got 6 wins by knockout. He fights in a really bladed stance, but smart. Like he's got really good head movement. Both of them do have solid head movement. I mean, we don't gotta look too far to see Bonfim's highlight reel, but I think that this is going to be a really competitive fight on the feet. I can't say that Bonfim's just going to go out there. I guess the power advantage is on his side, but I mean the technical skills I wouldn't say are outmatched on either side. I think that Sadikov has what it takes to hang in there, land some good shots of his own, and make it at least competitive. And that's why I say like if for some reason you've got to give somebody the edge in one department, I'd say that Bonfim probably has the experience and the BJJ edge. Because on the feet, I honestly don't see too much separating these guys other than the power advantage on Bonfim's side, which he has the more power in his hands. But Sadikov's clean, man. This guy is a really good striker. So I don't know. Where are you going with this? Like, are you
Yo, I couldn't. I think it's the other way around. I think Sadikov is probably better on the ground, and I think Bonfim's the much better striker. I don't think Sadikov is that good of a striker at all. I mean, this guy was losing his striking match to Evan fucking Elder, and then cut him, and the fight stopped. Like I think on the ground, I think Sadikov's probably gonna have to get takedowns to win this fight. To be honest, I think on the feet, I think Bonfim's going to look really, really, really good. Bonfim's a very talented striker. He throws these big hooks, which could lead to 1-2s down the pipe from Sadikov. But you're right that Bonfim definitely does have the power advantage here. But I also think he's the much cleaner striker, and I don't really. I think there's levels here on the feet. On the ground, though, I think Sadikov's going to have to tire out Bonfim. Sadikov's got really good cardio. It's the one thing about him. He went to fucking war with Borshev, didn't really slow down. He would have lost that fight, though. That's the thing. He would have lost that fight if he didn't drop Borshev and get a 10-8 round. He would have lost that fight. Obviously, that's like saying that's a weird argument to make, but Borshev is also the chinniest fighter ever. Like, let's say Borshev had a little bit better of a chin, Sadikov would have clearly lost that fight.
mm.
I think Bonfim should roll. I think he should roll here. I mean, we'll see. We'll
I
see.
don't know,
I
man.
don't think he has bad cardio. The only loss is to Saint Denis. In the ground game is kind of concerning. I just don't think Sadikov is the best offensive wrestling. I think Bonfim should be able to stuff. I think he wins the first 2 rounds clear. Maybe the third round's more competitive. We've seen Sadikov, look good in round 3, get finishes in round 3 against Evan Elder. But again, I just think Bonfim is the far more talented fighter. I get the line movement, but minus 200 is kind of excessive. Maybe like minus 180 for me, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just a little higher on Sadikov, I think, than you. Like, I think this guy does have ways to hurt Bonfim even on the feet. Like he's not the worst defense. Like he's got solid defensive striking in terms of like he keeps his hands up. He moves around pretty well. Especially recently, like maybe earlier in his career was a little more of a concern, but I think recently I think we've seen more improvements in the striking department. And I don't know, man. I think it could be close. It could be close, but ultimately you have to side with Bonfim just because I mean he hasn't given you any other reason to pick against him because he's looked better against. They fought some of the same opponents as well. He's looked really really good. I mean in all his wins basically. But going to the unanimous decision against Vink Pikel at 40 years old, you can't tell me that's not a little concerning, bro. 42
What
years
do
old.
you fucking beat the living shit out of Big by Joe? What are you talking about? Concerning what?
Bro, but
You
not
beat the
being able
shit
to
out of
get
him.
42-year-old Vink Pikel out of there and being able to, I don't know, man. He should have finished that fight, bro. I think I picked him by finish too in that fight. That's why I stuck out a little more. But yeah, I don't know. I think he wins this fight though. I think he wins the fight.
Dude, he beat the living fuck out of Big Michael. He just wouldn't go away. He looked good in that fight. He looked really good. Um, I, where are you like? I don't. Where are you getting this notion that Sadikov is like some good fighter? Like he's done nothing to prove that he's.
I guess the name value not, but I don't know. Like he's not like a bad fighter either. Like his
No, he's
striking
not
is
a
pretty
bad
solid.
fighter.
His striking is pretty solid though. Like I think
I just think he's
gonna
done
be.
absolute. I just think he's done absolutely nothing to prove that he's a good
I mean,
fighter.
but you're saying that based on the name value though, based on that he hasn't really beat anybody of notice, right?
Well, and then those fights were close as well. I mean, we can go one by one. He had the Contender Series fight, knocked out Hassanzada. Hassanzada just got signed off the Contender Series. He's probably the worst fighter in the UFC right now. He's horrible. Evan Elder, he was losing, not just because of name value. He was losing a striking fight to Evan Elder and then cut him. Like that, I know it's a fight, but like I feel like 5, 6 times out of 10, Elder wins that fight. And that's a striking fight with Evan Elder. Terrence McKinney, we all know after one round, McKinney is fucking cooked. And then Borshev, again, I think 6, 7 times out of 10, Borshev wins that fight. I don't know. I don't want to keep
But
going
I
on.
watched back the Evan Elder fight, like in that third round, even up before the cut, like the third round, he was winning the entire third round in the striking.
He's losing that fight on the scorecards.
Okay, fair. But I don't know. I think it could be a lot of interesting exchanges in this fight. But ultimately, I mean, yeah, you got to side with the more talented guy, and that is Bonfim, and he's got more momentum. He's got more hype around him. He's in a good spot. Yeah, I think I'm not disagreeing on the pick. I just think that I don't know. It could be a fun fight. It could be a really interesting fight.
Oh yeah, no, I think it'll be good. I'll go Bonfim decision. I don't think Sadikov gets finished in this one. All right, let's move on. Too much yap about that one. Mainly my fault. Let's move on. Next one, Edmund Shabazian versus Dylan Budka. You know, I want to see Dylan Budka on the scales. I want to see him on the scales. He looked so fucking bad on the scales in that Petrovsky fight. Like he looked like death. And then he went out there and fought horribly. Here's the thing. This is going to be one of the worst round one beatdowns we've seen in our lives, right? Regardless if Budka looks good or if he doesn't look good. If he does look good on the scales, I think he survives round one. But if he looks like shit again, then I think he probably gets finished in round one. Edmund Shabazian crumbles after one round. I mean, just completely fucking crumbles. Will it happen here? We'll see. Can he get that round one finish? I don't know. It's literally Edmund Shabazian round one finish, and then the other 2 rounds are going to be a coin flip, and he'll probably crumble in round 3. I think it's Shabazian round 1 KO or like a Budka split decision. That's how I see it. I mean, Shabazian has shown us absolutely nothing that he's not gonna crumble after round 1. Let's go ahead and look at his career.
Yeah.
Right? Split decision against Darren Stewart. I'm not even fucking thinking about that. Darren Stewart sucks. Won a split decision, whatever. Round one. Yeah, he looks incredible. He's winning in round 1. Doesn't get the round 1 finish against Brunson. Collapses. That's Derek Brunson, though. I'm not gonna hold him to it. Doesn't get that early finish against Hermanson. Gets dominated. Doesn't get that early finish.
Losses have really aged terribly. The
No,
Hermanson.
these are good wins, but he's like after round 1, he's getting fucked in the ass.
Yeah, you're right.
Gets fucked by Imavov. Obviously, no shame in that. Finishes Dalto Lungabola. He's horrible. Again, no shame in Anthony Hernandez. Gets the round 1 finish against Dobson. Mearshart doesn't get the round 1 finish against Mearshart, although he dominated the round 1, and then just crumbles after that. Is Dylan Budka good enough to make Shabazian crumble? I think that's what it comes down to. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think so, but that's why I like what you said about the split decision, because I could see a case in where Shabazian kills him in the first round, maybe even 10-8, and then the next 2 rounds he's just got nothing left in the tank. Budka's coming forward, not necessarily hurting him, but putting up against the fence, clinching him up, and just doing the more work. Like that's a case that we've seen in a lot of these fights. And I mean, I remember back in 2019 when I was first getting into the sport, everybody thought that Shabazian was going to be some star after that head kick that he landed on Tavares. And it was just downhill from there. So you can't trust this guy after round 1. But man, it's hard to see him finishing also. It's hard to see him finishing Dylan Budka in round 1. I mean, Budka's been finished, only knocked out once by Cesar Almeida. I don't know, man. I don't know. I want to pick Shabazz. At that price, you cannot put him in a parlay or anything like that. He's gonna fucking kill your parlay if you put
He
him in
shouldn't be
there.
that big of a favorite in
No, he
any.
shouldn't. He really shouldn't.
Like,
So
even against fucking you, he shouldn't be that big of a favorite. Or like, literally, against me, even he shouldn't be that big.
yeah, it's scary. It's a scary proposition betting on Edmund Shabazz, period. But when he's that big of a favorite, it just adds a little extra, antsy. But man, I think he's good enough to just fucking do more against Dylan Budka, who's just I don't think he's that talented of a fighter. So I don't know. I'm gonna pick Shabazz, but I not that much confidence, and I don't necessarily know how if he doesn't knock him out if he's gonna survive a split because I don't really see him having success late. So I don't know. I'm gonna pick Shabazz with little confidence, but tell me how you feeling.
All I want to see from Shabazian is just him take it slow. If he just takes this fight super slow, he wins. I
Yeah,
just don't want him to go all out in round one. It's a live bet situation.
Budka
I
might
know
pull
it's
that
not.
out too.
I don't know. It's literally up. We'll see what happens. I want him to just come out relaxed. He has Eric Nixick in his corner, I believe. That
That's
should be
good.
good for him.
Did you see what? Wait, pause, real quick. Did you see what Nixick said about Strickland?
Yeah. I mean, he's right.
Holy shit, bro, that was
Right.
crazy.
He's right.
He is right, but man, I did not think that
I
that
see
would.
people saying like he shouldn't have said it in an interview, but at the same time, he's talking to Sean Strickland. Like you need to say something in public
Yeah.
like that to get through to a
I
psychopath
feel
like
you
that.
with that. I feel you with that. It was just crazy to hear. I was like, damn, did he really say that? But I wholeheartedly agree with him, though. It looks like Sean Strickland's like a fucking prize fighter at this point. But yeah, having him in his corner is gonna help him for sure. So we'll see.
I think Sean Strickland, he needs to get back to being hungry, man. Because like when he was making his rise for the title, he was fighting all the fucking time, stepping in on short notice, and then he loses his belt.
The fame really got to him, bro. I'm telling you, the fame got to him, bro.
It did 100%, 100%.
It's
That's
okay.
besides the point, though. I think Shabazian. I'm going to trust him to finally fight smart, and I think he wins a decision. I think he wins a decision here, but I don't know. It's literally this fight's up to Shabazian. We'll see what he does. All right, where are we now? Co-main event? Yeah, co-main event. Calvin Kattar versus Yusuf Zalal. This is one of the worst betting lines I've ever seen. I think Zalal wins the fight, but what the fuck? Why is Zalal -4? I mean, the line keeps going up. -4.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I just don't. How is he this big of a favorite? He's going from fucking Jack Shore, Billy Q to Calvin Kattar. I know Calvin Kattar's older. What is he, 36 now? But at the same time, like this is just fucking ridiculous. This is a ridiculous sign. I'll just say it right here, right now. I placed a small bet on Kattar. This line is nuts. I think Zalal wins. I think Zalal should be -200 tops. -400 is fucking ridiculous. I mean, what has he done to show us that he should be that big of a favorite? Submitted Quarantillo, submitted Aarons, submitted Jack Shore. Now he's going to Calvin Kattar. I mean, look who's Calvin Kattar's been fighting. I mean, he lost. He beat Chikadze. He lost his split to Emmett. He won that fight. He got injured against Arnold Allen. He got dominated by Sterling, but Sterling looks really good at 145. I mean, this is a big step down. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Zalal is really this brand new fighter now that he's in his second stint of the UFC. I think you remember this, Rohan. Remember when I had this massive bet on Zalal because I saw him on the regional scene look incredible, and I absolutely nuked him. He was plus money against Quarantillo, and I nuked him, and it hit one of my biggest bets ever.
Yeah.
At this point, like -400 against Calvin Kattar, I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like this is another situation of like Kyler Phillips versus what's the fucking
That's
name?
a good shout. Yes.
Another situation like that. Except I think Zalal is better than Kyler Phillips. I do. I think he has better cardio. I think it'll be a much closer fight than that. But I think Calvin Kattar stands a real chance. I mean, I think this is a much closer fight than these odds are saying. I don't know. Do you agree?
No, I 100%. When I saw the line, I was like, "Am I missing something? Like, did I miss that Calvin Kattar had some medical like because like Zalal, I think we were both on him in his last couple of fights. Like we've predicted this resurgence, and he's looked really good in his last couple of fights. There's no taking away. But again, the step up from somebody like Jack Shore, who's never even sniffed the top fucking 10 in the division, to Calvin Kattar, who's a staple in the top 10. That's crazy. And to price him like that, I mean, you're only basing that off the fact that Kattar's lost 3 straight. That's why the price is what it is. But he's lost 3 straight against Sterling, Arnold Allen, and Josh Emmett in a fight that he didn't really lose. So
two of those are real losses, you know? Like
exactly. And so it's a little confusing, but at the same time, it's one of those like even if you asked me before the Kyler Phillips fight, like against was it Rob Font that he was that priced against? Like, yeah, it's a wide line, but I'm still gonna pick Yusuf Zalal just because like he is a well-rounded fighter, and I have been thoroughly impressed. Not like I'm just watching him like, yeah, no, he's picking up wins that he should. Like he's looking good in his wins. Um, he's well-rounded in the sense that like if he gets a hold of you, he can take the fight to the ground and advance position, get a hook in, get to the back, or try at least to look for a submission on, and which is gonna definitely scare Cater in one sense. But at the same time, Cater is the best boxer probably other than Ilia Tapurio, who he did good against back in the day, that he's ever faced. So, like, I mean, in his last couple of fights, Billy Quarantillo and Calvin Cater couldn't be farther from a stylistic perspective. Like, I just think that this is a really big step up. So there are some concerns, but I'm gonna trust that Zalal can evade the big shots of Cater early, wear on him in the clinch, do the better work in those tight quarters, and just ultimately win probably a one-sided decision, because I don't know. I mean, he can definitely sub Cater as well. I don't see him knocking Cater out, obviously. He's got 9 wins by sub, though, and he definitely has a real path to getting there each time. So I'm going to pick Zalal, but I don't know, man. The line is crazy. So, yeah, I would not mind a bet on Cater either, yeah, at that price.
Yeah, 100%. I like Cater. I like a bet here. I mean, I just don't. I'm honestly shocked by this thing. I mean, we could look at the career of Calvin Cater, right? He's 36, going on 37. We know that. He's been submitted 1 time, which I feel like is Zalal. If he finishes this fight, it's a sub. It's been years. It's been fucking since 2008 was the last time he got sub. What is it, 17 fucking years ago? Like, there's just I'm gonna pick Zalal to win a decision, but you know what's gonna stick out to me here? I mean, I'm just hoping Cater isn't washed. Like, I just don't understand the line. But like, those point spreads on DraftKings. Like, if I can get like that plus 7.5 at fucking plus money, give it to me. I want to rewatch all of Zalal's fights though, because how fucking good has he? Hey, this is a massive step up, but how good has he looked? Like, I just don't get. He must have looked.
He's finishing the fights pretty early, like round 1, round 2 subs. In the last couple of fights. And the Quarantillo one, I mean, you remember because you bet on him. He looked really good in that fight. But it's Billy Quarantillo. Like, he's one of those guys that is so hittable. You can easily advance your position against him. You can easily get inside on Billy Quarantillo. You can't do those things against Calvin Cater to the same extent. You just can't. So I don't know, man. I don't know. The line is crazy. I don't think he looks like a minus 400 unless he gets him out of there and by sub. And even Aljo had a fucking tough time getting him out of there by sub. So no, man, I think it's a decision. I'm with you. Zalal decision would be the pick, but I could see a Cater decision. I could see a Cater knockout. I don't know, man. Cater's live. Cater's live at that price for sure.
I want to rewatch Zalal's fights before I put even more money on Cater, because right now this line is nuts. Yeah. All right. We got one more. We've got the fucking main event. We've got Jared Cannonier versus Obama. It looks like Obama if he was
kind of look like Obama.
Obama, bootleg Obama, whatever you want to call him. He's a good fighter though. First of all, let's start by saying this: Gregory Rodrigues is not 32. He is lying. He has to be lying about his age, right? Do you see him?
40, bro.
And he's looked fucking 50 years old since he was like 26.
Yeah.
I don't get it. He has to be lying about his age. But let's look at the career of Gregory. First of all, we all know who Jared Cannonier is. He's a guy that's going to come forward. He's going to throw bombs. He's going to box. He's not really going to kick, and that's all he's really going to do. And at this point, he's only getting older, and he's probably only getting worse, although he hasn't really showed any signs of really slowing down. But at this point, I mean, you're going on 41. You just took a fucking beating from Barrio. Like, I think we're going to see he's coming off back-to-back knockouts within 8 months. I know that Imavov wasn't a real knockout, but we've seen him get hurt multiple times. I'm scared for Cannonier, but we know what we're getting. He's going to go out there. He's going to go out there and he's going to look solid, right? We may see some durability issues, but he's going to look solid. I don't think his skill is going to deplete that much, really, at all, to be honest. If we look at the Rodrigues side, I think that's what matters here, right? Comes into the UFC way back when. I think he had a contender series fight against Jordan Williams. Unfortunate loss, fluky loss against Jordan Williams. I don't really think about it. Comes back, looks incredible on the regional scene. Destroys Jun Young Park, looks great there. Loses to Armin Petrosian in a fight that I thought he won. Beats Marquez, knocks him out round 1. Finishes Njokuani in an absolute war. I remember that was one of our first videos ever. Remember when
that was insane.
on the head? Ugh, that was fucking disgusting. And then gets knocked out by Bruno Ferreira. It's like his chin just vanishes. I don't know. He literally got, that's the definition of a button knockout. He literally got
Mhm,
hit on the fucking button and just
mhm.
went unconscious. Comes back, destroys Talunin, destroys Tavares. Saw him get hurt a few times actually, but he destroyed Tavares, got the round 3 finish, looked good. And then that Leroy Duncan fight, extremely impressive, won every single round. And like, I just don't, it doesn't make sense because how did he get knocked the fuck out by Ferreira, but takes so
No, but
many,
it was like you said, though. It was perfect. That shot was so perfect that he hit him with. There
and
was
then he
nothing
takes
to
so many shots from fucking Leroy Duncan. He's not even phased.
do. Mhm.
Um, I think it's, I think it's, I think he wins. I think he wins the fight. I don't know what's up with his chin, but I don't think Cannonier has enough to land that perfect shot like Ferreira did, even though Cannonier is miles better than Ferreira. Ferreira knows how to land that one punch when he's given the opportunity. And I don't think at this stage of Cannonier's career, I think he's fighting more technical. I don't think he's looking for that one shot. And I think if he goes into a technical fight here with Rodrigues, I don't think he wins. I think Rodrigues, we know it's surprising that he's actually got a reach disadvantage here, but he has a 4-inch height advantage. I think he's just going to be able to come forward and just bully Cannonier and probably find a finish. I'm just worried about the durability from Cannonier. We see him getting hurt a lot, going on 41. I'll go Obama. Who do you got?
Yeah, I've picked Cannonier as an underdog. I feel like the last couple of times was he was definitely an underdog versus Imavov, and I picked him. I think looking back on it, very bad pick. I know he was an underdog against Kaio, and I didn't pick him in that one, but it is kind of like one of those fights where, yeah, he's got to let that technical shit go. He's got to just engage in a real fist fight where he's letting his hands go because this guy does hit hard. Like Cannoniers has power in his hands. I feel like people forget sometimes that he can hit hard. But it's like you said, like he gets kind of when you're fighting somebody like Imavov, you kind of just get drawn into a technical striking fight. When you're fighting somebody like Sean Strickland, you get drawn into a technical strike fight. Israel Adesanya, same thing. But man, this guy has a lot of 5-round experience. Is the one thing. He's been in a lot of main events. The Imavov loss is aged terrifically, so I'm really not holding that against him. And I am so high on Caio Barallo. I do think that this is a step down in competition from Caio to Gregory, just based on technical skill. I think that's indisputable. No matter how high or how you are on Gregory, I think that Caio is a better fighter. Nasruddin is a better fighter. Um, and the amount of experience that Cannonier has in these big spots does, hold some weight in my mind. But it's like the physical advantages. Like Gregory Rodrigues is a huge dude. Number one, like he looks big for the division, and coming forward with that wrestle heavy style, I just think, man, it's something that Cannonier struggled with in the past. Whether it's the actually. Well, now it's something that he'll struggle more with, given at his age. Like he's 40 years old and he's been around for so long. But he's faced, like Marvin Vettori was trying to take him down. He didn't let that happen. Derek Brunson, oh, he should have finished him. Derek Brunson should have finished Cannonier if we all remember that fight, but he didn't, and he was able to survive that. I don't know, man. I'm not the most impressed with Gregory Rodrigues on the feet, but I do think that the way he fights and the pressure that he puts on his opponents will give Cannonier some pause. I don't know what to make of those. Like if the fight gets to like round 4, round 5, and Cannonier has looked pretty good, and it's kind of tough to tell who won the first 3. Like, does Cannonier kind of have an advantage in that situation, just based on how many times he's been in a 5-round fight? I don't know, man. It's pretty tough. It's tougher for me to call. Um, but I've been victim to picking Cannonier the past like 2 times, and I can't do it again. I just think that probably at some point the age will catch up to him. The volume still isn't at where it needs to be, I think. So Gregory Rodrigues, I think just by doing more and having more moments where he's clearly winning the fight, and in the judge's eyes, he'll probably clearly be winning in those clinch situations. I think that's where he'll do a lot of the best work. But I don't know, man. I don't want to sleep on Jared Cannonier. I'm a big Cannonier guy. And I could see him pulling off the upset, if that's what you want to call it. But I'll take Rodrigues as well. I think just based on momentum and the fact that the only time he's lost was that one time he got caught on the chin. Cannonier doesn't have really that same accuracy or power. So I'll pick Rodrigues to eke out the decision. But it's gonna be I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting fight.
Well, I mean, he's going on 41 at this point. I mean,
He's going on 41, but he doesn't look it. He doesn't look like, even in the Imavov fight, he didn't look terrible up until he got caught, and he got caught clean by Imavov. But
no, he looked good. He looked good. It's just like now he's taking like he's getting hurt a lot. Like
Yeah,
you
he
see,
has
he
been
just
hurt a
got he
lot.
got fucking hurt badly by Bariah. I can't believe they didn't stop that fight in round 5. Bariah was on an immense amount of steroids. We'll get into that another time.
Don't say that about He's the natural. He's the natural.
I honestly think he's the only one that can beat Duplessis. Bariah. Call me crazy.
Bariah, hey,
that's
a good fight. That's a good fight.
He's the only one that can beat Duplessis.
I'm a fan of Duplessis now, man. I gotta say, like, I'm excited that he's willing and excited to fight, take on the biggest challenges. Like Hamzat's definitely gonna happen. He said Pereira, maybe we'll see it at 205. You know, like Bariah's definitely coming down there, so that could be a fight in the future. The middleweight division is maybe picking up some momentum now, but yeah, as far as a pick here, I'm gonna go Rodrigues. Not too much confidence, and I am gonna root for Jared Cannonier as always, but I just don't see it. This man at 41 years old, man, it's tough to see. But good card overall. We should see some upsets for sure. Maybe Zalal cements himself as a star. You know, maybe RoboCop with a finish would definitely cement himself as a real threat. So yeah, I'm excited.
We'll see. I want to see where Cannonier's durability is at. I want to watch that round 1, see if he's getting hit with clean shots and taking him. And if he is, I may be looking at a live bet. For now, I'll probably
I'm so tempted to pick him just based on I haven't seen Rodrigues in those 4th and 5th rounds, but I'm not even gonna.
Rodrigues has good cardio. He's really good cardio. I'm not worried about that at all. I mean, he was eating up Leroy Duncan in round 3, looking great.
True. That is true.
I'm not worried. Cardio is not the problem here. I think skill.
And even Cannonier, honestly, like
better, man. But again, like if Rodrigues gets this fight to the ground, he can sub. I just feel like there's more paths. I gotta do a little more thinking. For now, I'll go Rodrigues, but I want to watch. I don't know. Rodrigues.
It's gonna be a fun fight, though.
I need to look at the chat. We got Miles. WWW. Thank you, Miles. Justin in the chat. What up, Justin? You guys do the whole card. We did.
Yes, sir. Every week, whole card. Tune in.
Go ahead and scroll back if you want to see all of our predictions. There's some fights that we're just like, what are we fucking doing here? But a lot of bangers as well. So that's a UFC card for you nowadays.
Exactly.
Footy says he gets tired from round 1. Who are you talking about? Who's on?
Yeah,
Cannonier? I don't think Cannonier gets tired after round 1. He was fucking fighting in round 4, round 5. Talking about Rodrigues, I don't think he gets tired either. I think both these guys have good cardio. So
maybe he's talking about Edmund Shabazian.
Yeah, this fight should be fun. It could go either way, but I guess I'll go. He's talking about Shabazian.
I don't know, maybe.
Shabazian, you're definitely right about. I don't know. Is Shabazian Unk status?
Yeah, he might not be Unk status just yet, but he's getting up there.
He's still in his 20s.
He's an Unk.
Okay. I think that's it. I think that's all we got.
Sir.
Any final words?
No, I'm gonna root for Jared Cannonier. I'm gonna root for Edmund Shabazian to get the job done. But hey, man, it's gonna be a fun fight. I think the main event should be pretty entertaining. There's a lot of finish potential, a lot of upset potential. So this is gonna be a fun fight card, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. It's gonna be a good one. Arguably better than UFC 312.
Well, oh my God, I don't even want to go back to the UFC. Man, I'll say something. I'm so mad at myself that I think I picked Tatiana, but man, Weili looked so
Tatiana
good
too.
Weili looked so fucking good.
Honestly, I just think Tatiana just looked awful. I think those injuries just
but the way she was defending takedowns, like I saw a tweet today, and it was like showing like I'm sure you saw it. It was like the zoom in of the way she was defending, throwing like those short elbows to just in the clinch every time, hurt Tatiana on the way in. Like she had a really good game plan for that fight. And I was calling for the fucking super fight with her and Valentina like 2 years ago. I need to see that shit yesterday, bro. I'm so excited for that. But man, that was a weird card. And Duplessis, yeah, I'm glad he just got the job done because man, Strickland needs to go back to the drawing board. He just need to rethink things.
He needs to go back to taking a bunch of fights, man. That's what he needs to do.
Yeah, really. Hey, the Izzy rematch is I mean, it's the most clear fight that's there for him right now. So we'll see. And hopefully Izzy is as down and he's not considering retirement like we all predicted. But
yeah, Bank Derek, I don't know who you are, but you're 100% right. There was more ranked fighters in the crowd. Yeah, literally. There were literally more ranked fighters in the crowd than on okay, I think that's all we got, folks. If you want to go, if you're just tuning in, because I noticed we're getting views now, of course, just go scroll back. We talked about every fight on the card, all 13 fights. But for now, I almost forgot the fucking outro music. Fucking damn.
Yo.
All right. Sayonara, people. Everyone be good. It's been Lucas and Rohan.
Peace out.
Fuck you.